Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Rosso E802 1200 watts of power model Pioneer E802, and to many of you it will look exactly the same as a Model Q, but Model Q will be slightly different because it's for Canadian market and this model is strictly for the US market. So if you own one of those ATVs, now I'm referring to the US customers, you already know that as soon as you turn on your ignition switch, you will have a power level display, you will have a gear shifter display on a neutral or reverse. By the way, there is no forward indicator on those machines. That's how it's supposed to be from the factory. Maybe one day I'll try to make it with a D or F if possible to come up on that display, but for now that's how it comes from the factory. Anyway, so as soon as you turn on the power, you're going to see the gear shifter display on, and you're going to see that your LED lights are on and they running continuously for the safety. So that's how it's supposed to be if everything is working properly. But what if none of those accessories are working on your ATV? You don't have a gear shifter display, you don't have a horn, you don't have a stoplight coming on, and you don't have a headlights on. What to do in this case? Well, there's 4 possible reasons why those accessories are not working, and I'll show you what needs to be checked. Now remember that those accessories got nothing to do with the ATV not running. So your ATV will run when you twist the throttle. You will not have any accessories, but that's got nothing to do with operating the ATV. So to restore the power to your accessories, you need to pull out, remove your seat, and first of all check if the fuse is not blown. This little box, this is the fuse. It's a glass type fuse, as you can see, old style, and this fuse is responsible for all of those accessories. So if the fuse will be blown, I'm going to disconnect it to pretend like it's blown. You will not have any gear shifter display on, you will not have any horn, and you will not have any headlights, so as a stoplight, but you will have a display on the throttle. So realistically, if you put on a forward and twist the throttle, your ATV will move without any problems. So as you can see, the accessories got nothing to do with operating your ATV. Now first of all, check if the fuse is not blown, and if it's blown, then you need to replace it with a new one. Now the next step is to check if you have a connection on this plug right here, because if this plug got unplugged during the usage, maybe during the shipping, because of the stress, you will not have good connection right here, and you need to check on that. Also look inside of the plug if there is no bent or corroded pins, and fix that issue. So all of the 3 pins supposed to align with a male and female plug and for the solid connection. So that would be 1 and 2 reason. Number 3 reason would be that you have a loose connection underneath of this bundle of wires, underneath of this body kit, and the plug that is responsible for all of those accessories is the only one plug that's going to be a red color and says indicator. Now you're gonna have 2 of them coming out from the main controller. One of them will be plugged in, supposed to be plugged in for all of the accessories. Another plug will be somewhere just on its own, so it's going to be always unplugged. So don't mess with this one. I will explain you later what that plug for. So but for now, you have to make sure that plug that says indicator, and it is a black wire, and another one is a blue with a red stripe, is plugged in to the female plug with a green wire and the red with a white stripe. So look inside of the plug. If there is no bent pins, maybe you have to make it straight. If there is no corrosion, so plug it back in place and check if you have lights and the rest of the accessories that you are missing. Now if you check on all of that, the last part or the last place to inspect would be the voltage regulator itself. Maybe it's not working anymore, and I'll show you how to check it. But you will need a basic multimeter for that, so you can measure the voltage off of those 3 wires. Now, coming into the voltage converter from the ATV side, you're gonna have 3 wires, which is a red with white stripe, black wire that coming from the fuse, and the green wire. So you will be measuring if you have a steady 50 volt, which is coming from the battery pack going into the converter. So you want to see 50 volt between wires, red with white stripe and the green wires. So with the multimeter, you will need to insert your multimeter probes into those wires. Let me show you how. Okay, now as you can see, I have a digital multimeter. I put settings on a DC, and I have 51 volts, and my probes are inserted directly into the plug on one on a red and the white stripe wire, and another probe on the other edge of the plug, which is a green wire. Now the ignition must be on to do this test. If the ignition is off, you're not going to see any voltage. Okay, so with the ignition on, verify how many volts coming out from those 2 wires on both edges of the plug. Remember that middle black wire that go into the fuse? That one is only responsible for the voltage to come out from the converter. So right now I have 52 volts, that is how many volts coming out from the battery pack, and this voltage on the display is confirming that I don't have any interruption of power between the battery pack and the actual voltage converter plug. Now the next step is to see how many volts coming out of this voltage converter into the ATV. For this, I will need to remove this multimeter and insert into the middle connector, and look how many volts I have. And as you can see, I have 12.3 volt coming out. I hope the resolution is good and you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I was measuring, before I was measuring into the converter, I was measuring on the both edges of the wires, both edges of the plug, wires red with white stripe and the green, but coming out how many volts, it will be, you'll be measuring green and the black, and you're supposed to have 12 volts. And if you don't see these 12 volts coming out, that means that your voltage converter is shot and needs to be replaced. I see that this converter is actually sealed very well, but it doesn't mean that it is waterproof. Maybe water splashed, but not waterproof. So it is possible that it can fail at some point. But the way this ATV made, it's really nice quality wiring harness and really nice components involved, installed, I mean. So what's the benefits of this voltage step down converter? comparably to Canadian models that don't have it? Well, first of all, every country going to have its own regulations for the safety. So US government required that this ATV, all of the accessories supposed to run off 12 volt. So headlights, gear shifter indicator, horn, and the stop, all of those working off the 12 volt system. That's why this step down converter was installed. And for Canadian market it was not necessary because there was no such a requirements. Now if you want to add some other accessories into your ATV, for example LED pole, like a safety flag, LED safety flag, and that pole is running off 12 volt, you can actually hook up that pole into the 12 volt plug, which will be going into your headlights. So this plug with a green and black wire will be providing you with the 12 volt. But if you find some accessories that working from 48 volt system, you can actually also hook it up to your ATV. You just have to look for that second plug that I've been mentioning before, that's going to be labeled as an indicator plug, and that plug is going to be unplugged. So if you will measure voltage of this red unplugged male connector, you will see that you will have a 50 volts, or depends how your battery is fully charged up at the moment. My battery is 51.6, so if I will insert my probes here, I'm supposed to see the same voltage coming from this plug. Just like you can see, I plugged in my probe directly into the plug and I have 51.5 volts. So again, if you wish to add any accessories to run from 48 volt, that running off 48 volt system, plug into this one. But if you have accessories that running off 12 volts, you will need to splice this plug and parallelly connect it to this black and the green wire, because you have a 12 volt here. Well, this is it. If you checked all of those places and you still don't have any luck with the accessories working, I mean you check the voltage converter and it's producing 12 volts coming out to the ATV, but all of your accessories are still not working, most likely that some of the wild animals like squirrels, maybe they've been chewing your electrical wiring harness, or that electrical wiring harness has been rubbing against the frame somewhere. But the way I see it, it's really well made ATV, and all of the wiring harness is protected with a protective loom, and I don't see that as a possible problem for not working, for any of the accessories not to work. So, but moisture can damage also, so check on that. Alright, well, I hope that was a helpful video for you guys, and stay tuned. I'll be showing more in my future videos about this particular model ATV. One more that I wanted to mention for the US customers, as you can see I have a remote start and stop fobs, and that was installed after, because factory does not provide this option at the moment. So but you can buy it and you can have your ATV to be started remotely and stopped also remotely. Play on a playlist and watch my other video how to install and which part number to buy for your model ATV to run off the remotely. Alright, thank you. God bless you guys. God bless Canada, America and Ukraine.